The meeting room on Station Harmonious Unity fell silent as Ambassador William Carter of Earth walked in. He moved with the same measured steps he always used, his gray suit perfectly pressed, his face showing nothing but polite interest. Behind him walked Kate Nelson, his assistant for the past 7 years. She carried a simple data tablet and wore the same calm expression as her boss. The other ambassadors watched them closely. Some with multiple eyes, others with sensing organs humans could barely understand. 26 alien species represented in the room, and all of them fascinated by the two humans who never seemed to get upset. Ambassador Carter, rumbled Grand Minister Zotok, the massive representative of the Parnassian Collective. His purple skin rippled with formal greeting patterns. You requested this meeting. The Council recognizes Earth. William nodded. Thank you, Grand Minister. His voice was even and controlled. I wish to bring to the Council's attention a matter concerning the outer colony of Europa. He tapped a small device, and the room's central display showed images of a research station. The station was dark, with clear signs of damage. 48 hours ago, we lost contact with Europa Station. Our investigation shows signs of an attack. This is the third such incident in Earth-controlled space in the past month. The Xindi ambassador, a tall, thin being with iridescent scales, leaned forward. What evidence connects these incidents, Ambassador? William directed Kate to share data files with the Council. The attack patterns are identical. Communications are cut first. Then key infrastructure is targeted with precision. There are never any demands. No survivors are ever found. A low murmur passed through the Council chamber. The Tellurian ambassador's skin flashed concerned orange patterns. Do you have an identified aggressor? Asked Ambassador Velna of the Kzinti Federation. Her furry ears twitched with interest. Not yet, William replied. That is why we bring this to the Council. We request a joint investigation task force. Grand Minister Zotok's skin rippled with what humans had learned was thoughtfulness. The evidence seems inconclusive, Ambassador Carter. These could be accidents or perhaps local pirate activity. William's expression didn't change, though Kate noticed his left hand tighten slightly where it rested on the podium. She had worked with him long enough to know this tiny gesture represented significant frustration. With respect, Grand Minister, the precision of these attacks suggests advanced military capability. We have lost 32 lives already. Zotok made a formal gesture of acknowledgement. The Council will review your request and respond within standard procedure timeframes. 15 cycles should be sufficient. Kate did the mental calculation. 15 cycles meant 3 Earth weeks. 3 more weeks of waiting while their people might be in danger. William simply nodded. Thank you for your consideration. The meeting ended, and the human delegation walked out with the same calm they had shown walking in. Only when they reached the privacy of the Earth Embassy did William's composed mask slip slightly. 3 weeks, he sighed, loosening his collar. People could die while they review our request. Kate placed the data tablet on her desk. They don't understand urgency the way we do. The Parnassians live for 400 years. 3 weeks is nothing to them. William poured 2 cups of coffee from the embassy kitchen unit. The smell filled the room, bringing a small comfort of Earth to this station filled with strange scents. Sometimes I wonder if joining the conclave was the right decision, he said, handing Kate a cup. 107 years of membership, and they still treat us like newcomers. Kate took a careful sip of the hot coffee. Earth needed the technology exchange, and the protection, back then at least. Did we? William looked out the viewport at the endless stars. Or did we just fear what we might become without someone watching over us? Before Kate could answer, the door slid open. Sam Wright, the embassy's intelligence officer, walked in. His pace was quick, but his face was controlled. Like all diplomatic staff, he had been trained to manage his expressions. The other species in the conclave found human emotional displays unsettling. Ambassador, we have a problem, Sam said. He placed his own data device on the desk. We just received this from Alpha Centauri colony. The screen showed another attack. This time the damage was worse. A civilian transport ship destroyed. The estimated death toll. 117 people. When did this happen? William asked, his voice still measured despite the news. 4 hours ago, Sam replied. And there's more. One of our deep space monitoring stations caught this image of the attacking vessel. The screen changed to show a ship unlike any in the Conclave registry. It had a strange, angular design with what appeared to be organic elements merged with technology. Have we seen this design before? Kate asked, leaning closer to the screen. Sam shook his head. Never. It matches nothing in any database we have access to. I've already requested Conclave, military records, but it will take time to get approval. William finished his sentence. Of course. He straightened his shoulders and adjusted his tie. File the report following Conclave protocol. Include this new evidence in our request for investigation. Follow every procedure exactly. Sam frowned slightly. Sir, with respect. While we file reports, our people are dying. William looked at him steadily. I understand your frustration, Sam. But we represent humanity to the galaxy here. We maintain our composure. We follow the rules. We show them that humans can be trusted to act with reason, not emotion. Kate remembered her history lessons. Earth had nearly destroyed itself multiple times before achieving space travel. The other species knew this. Many had been watching Earth for centuries before making contact. Humanity's reputation for violence had preceded them. The Conclave had only accepted Earth after years of proving they had moved beyond their violent past. The diplomatic corps had worked tirelessly to present humanity as thoughtful, controlled, and rational. It was why every human representative was trained extensively in emotional control. We'll get through their bureaucracy, William said more, softly. And we'll find out who's attacking our people, but we do it their way. Sam nodded reluctantly. Yes, Ambassador. After Sam left, William turned back to the viewport. 100 years of carefully managed diplomacy. 100 years of proving we're not the savages they feared we were. His reflection in the glass looked tired. Let's hope it pays off when we really need their help. Kate stood beside him, looking out at the massive station where 27 species worked together in supposed harmony. Neither of them could have guessed how soon humanity's famous composure would be tested beyond its limits, or what would happen when it finally broke. 3 weeks passed with no action from the Conclave Council. During that time, 2 more human outposts reported attacks before going silent. William Carter maintained his professional demeanor in public, but Kate Nelson noticed the signs of strain. The slight tightness around his eyes, the way he held his coffee cup too firmly during morning briefings. The Council has reached a decision on your request, Grand Minister Zotak announced during the next session. His massive form dominated the chamber. We find the evidence concerning but not conclusive for immediate action. We will establish an observation committee to monitor the situation. William stood at the podium, his face showing nothing despite the disappointing news. An observation committee will not protect our colonies, he said evenly. We have lost over 200 lives. Ambassador Velna of the Kizinti twitched her whiskers. Regrettable losses, Ambassador Carter. However, committing Conclave resources requires more substantial evidence of a coordinated threat. Kate watched from her seat as William presented his case again. He showed the images of destroyed outposts. He displayed the strange ship there, sensors had captured. He outlined the pattern of attacks moving steadily closer to more populated human settlements. The Council listened politely. They offered sympathy, but they would not act. When the session ended, William walked back to the embassy with the same measured pace he always used. Only when the doors closed behind them did he allow himself to sit heavily in his chair. They won't help us until it's too late, he said quietly. Sam Wright entered the office with new reports. We've identified some of the technology on the alien ship, he said. It doesn't match any known species. The analysts are calling them Krelvor, based on markings found on debris. An unknown species, Kate said. That should concern the Council. It should, William agreed. But they've grown comfortable in their centuries of peace. They can't imagine a true threat anymore. Sam placed a datapad on the desk. Admiral Diane Lawson has requested permission to move the defense fleet to the colony worlds under threat. William nodded. Granted, but under Conclave Treaty we can only position defensive forces, no preemptive strikes. The colonies are scared, Sam said, his control slipping slightly. New Denver has started emergency evacuations. People don't think we're doing enough. We're doing everything we can within the rules, William replied. The moment we break Conclave regulations, we prove every fear they've ever had about humans. We become the violent species they always suspected we were. Kate remembered her first day at the Diplomatic Academy. The instructor had explained their mission clearly. For centuries, humanity tore itself apart with war. When we joined the galactic community, we promised to be better. Your job is to never let them see the old humanity, the humanity that solves problems with force, the humanity that strikes first and asks questions later. That night, Kate couldn't sleep. She walked through the embassy garden where earth plants grew under artificial light. The small grove of pine trees reminded her of home in Colorado. She found William there looking at the stars through the station's transparent dome. We should have kept some secrets from them, he said without turning around. The Vosk don't reveal their full military strength. The Parnassians certainly have. Technologies they never shared. But humans, we wanted so badly to be trusted that we revealed everything. Not everything, Kate said carefully. William gave her a sharp look. Protocol Thermopylae is a last resort, not a solution. Kate nodded. Protocol Thermopylae was rarely discussed, even among the diplomatic corps. It was the contingency plan. If the Conclave ever failed humanity completely, no one wanted to see it implemented. The next morning brought the news they had been dreading. The colony of New Denver, population 50,000, had been attacked. The defense fleet arrived too, late to prevent significant damage. Death toll estimates were in the thousands. For the first time, they had survivors who had seen the attackers up close. The reports described tall, gray-skinned beings with too many joints in their limbs. They didn't communicate or make demands. They simply killed or captured humans efficiently. William requested another emergency council session. This time, his request was granted immediately. The attack on New Denver was too large to ignore. The evidence is now conclusive, William told the council, his voice steady despite having been awake for 36 hours straight. This unknown species, which we identify as the Krelvor, represents a direct threat to Conclave security. Showed the council the survivor testimonies, the images of destruction, the patterns showing the Krelvor moving methodically through human-controlled space. We request immediate Conclave military assistance, William concluded. And we ask for permission to form a joint task force to locate the Krelvor homeworld, or base of operations. The council chamber erupted in discussion. The Tellurians flashed alarmed colors across their skin. The Xindi representatives hissed among themselves. The Vosk delegates pounded their chest plates in what might have been enthusiasm for battle. Grand Minister Zotok raised his massive arms for silence. This attack is indeed troubling, he said. The Council will provide observer ships to your defense fleet. We will also share any intelligence our networks gather about these Krelvor. Observer ships? William repeated. His tone remained professional, but Kate noticed a small muscle twitching in his jaw. New Denver lies in ruins. Thousands are dead. We need active military support. Zotok's skin rippled with what humans had learned was apologetic regret. The Conclave cannot commit to full military action based on attacks confined to human space. If the Krelvor threatened multiple species, the situation would be different. Ambassador Velna added, "We must consider the possibility that the Krelvor have specific interest in humans only. Perhaps something about your species has drawn their attention." William stood very still. Kate knew him well enough to recognize he was fighting to maintain his composure. "So humanity stands alone," he said finally. "Not alone," Zotok corrected. "Under observation and with intelligence support. This is the consensus of the Council." William nodded once and gathered his materials. "Then we will defend ourselves as best we can. Thank you for your time." As they left the chamber, Ambassador Grek of the Vosk caught up with them in the corridor. The reptilian diplomat kept his voice low. Your restraint is admirable, Ambassador. Carter, he said, but if humans wish to survive, you may need to show these Krelvor what your species is truly capable of. Sometimes diplomacy requires a demonstration of strength. William gave nothing away in his expression. We follow conclave protocols, Ambassador Grek. The Vosk made a sound that might have been laughter. For now. But the Vosk remember the human wars we observe from afar. We know what sleeps beneath your polite words. After Grek left, Kate looked at William. What now? Now we continue following protocol, William replied. But we also prepare. Because the Krelvor aren't stopping, and the conclave isn't helping. He looked down the long corridor where delegates from 26 alien species walked, talked, and negotiated, none of them understanding what was coming. And may the stars help anyone who gets in our way if things get worse. The situation grew worse over the next month. 5 more human colonies reported attacks. The defense fleet managed to save 2 of them, arriving in time to drive the Krelvor ships away. But the other 3 were lost completely. The death count now reached nearly 12,000. William Carter spent most of his time in council meetings. Each day he presented new evidence. Each day, the conclave offered sympathy but little else. We don't understand why they target humans specifically, said Ambassador Velna during one session. Perhaps if you shared more about your species' history or biology, we could identify what attracts these Krelvor. William kept his voice steady. We have shared everything relevant, Ambassador. The Krelvor leave no messages, make no demands. They simply attack, kill, and in some cases take prisoners. In the Earth Embassy, the mood grew darker with each report. Kate found Sam Wright in the communications room late one night, reviewing Defense Fleet footage. Have you seen this? He asked, pointing to the screen. It showed a Krelvor ship capturing a small human transport. They're not just killing now, they're taking people. Kate watched the grainy footage. For what purpose? We don't know, Sam said. But Admiral Lawson reports that at least 700 humans have been captured in the last 3 attacks. The embassy door opened and Lieutenant John Peterson walked in. He was young, only 26, and served as the military attaché to the diplomatic team. His face, usually carefully composed like all human diplomats, showed clear signs of distress. Lieutenant? Kate asked. What's wrong? John tried to steady himself. My brother and his family live on New Washington Colony, he said. I just got word that the Krelvor have been detected near their system. The defense fleet is too far away to reach them in time. New Washington was humanity's largest extrasolar colony. Over 12 million people lived there. The thought of it under attack made Kate feel sick. Ambassador Carter is requesting an emergency session of the full conclave assembly, she told John. Not just the council this time, all 27 species will have to listen. When? John asked, his voice tight. Standard procedure says 3 days from now, Sam answered. Grand Minister Zotak says the assembly needs time to gather. John's hand tightened into a fist. For a moment, Kate thought he might hit something. Instead, he took a deep breath and relaxed his fingers with visible effort. 3 days, he said quietly. My brother's family might not have 3 days. William entered the room. He looked tired, but his appearance was still perfect, his expression controlled. Lieutenant Peterson, I heard about New Washington, he said. I've requested the defense fleet redirect 2 ships to the colony, but they won't arrive for at least 48 hours. Thank you, sir, John said. I appreciate your efforts. William nodded. The assembly meeting is scheduled for 3 days from now. Until then, we continue to document everything. We need to build a case the conclave cannot ignore. None of them slept much that night. The embassy buzzed with activity as they prepared for the assembly meeting. Kate drafted speeches while Sam compiled evidence reports. William moved between them, reviewing everything with careful attention. 2 days later, the news they feared arrived. New Washington had gone silent. Initial reports showed a massive Krelvor fleet had entered the system. The colony's defense systems had been overwhelmed quickly. When William tried to move the assembly meeting up, Grand Minister Zotak refused. The schedule is already set, Ambassador Carter, he said. 1 day will make no difference now. Kate saw something change in William's eyes when he heard those words, something cold and hard that she had never seen before in his always controlled expression. "Minister Zotak," William said, his voice unusually quiet. "I hope you never have cause to regret those words." That night, they received the first transmissions from New Washington. The colony wasn't completely destroyed. Instead, the Krelvor had established what appeared to be processing centers. They were separating humans into groups. The footage showed people being herded into large facilities. Lieutenant Peterson found his brother's family in one of the videos. They were being led into a processing center, the children crying, the adults trying to stay calm. "What are they doing to our people?" John asked, his voice breaking. No one had an answer. The morning of the assembly meeting, William called his team together. "Today is different," he told them. "Today we're not just following protocol anymore." Kate felt a chill at his words. "What does that mean, Ambassador?" "It means I've received new orders from Earth Central Command," William replied. "If the Assembly refuses to act after today's evidence, we implement Protocol Thermopylae." Sam's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" William nodded once. The time for patience is over. The assembly hall was massive, with seating for representatives from all 27 conclave species. William had requested permission to show footage from New Washington on the main screen. Permission had been granted. As the human delegation entered, Kate noticed the other species watching them with various expressions. Some showed concern, others curiosity. A few, like the Vosk, seemed almost eager to see how humans would react to their crisis. Grand Minister Zotak called the session to order. "Ambassador Carter of Earth has requested this emergency session to address ongoing attacks against human settlements. The Assembly recognizes Earth." William walked to the central podium. He placed his datapad down but didn't activate it immediately. For 18 full minutes, he said nothing. He simply stood there as the footage from New Washington played on the giant screens. The representatives watched as humans were rounded up, sorted, and taken into facilities. They heard the screams. They saw the Krelvor methodically processing people like cattle. The silence in the chamber grew uncomfortable. Some representatives shifted in their seats. Others whispered to their aides. No one knew what to make of the human ambassador's silence. When William finally spoke, his voice was different. The careful diplomatic tone was gone. Every species that had worked with humans for decades noticed the change immediately. "We have followed your protocols," William said, his voice trembling not with fear, but with something the conclave representatives had never heard from a human diplomat before, barely controlled anger. "We have filed your reports. We have waited for your investigations. We have respected the rules of this conclave while our worlds burn." He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of various representatives. "That ends today." A murmur ran through the assembly. They had never seen a human diplomat speak with such raw emotion. "Ambassador Carter," Zotak said, clearly unsettled, "please maintain proper diplomatic." 12 million people, William interrupted, something no human had ever done in the assembly before. 12 million human lives now hang in the balance on New Washington. And you told me that one more day would make no difference. He tapped his datapad and new footage appeared on the screen. It showed Lieutenant Peterson's brother and his family. The Krelvor were separating the parents from the children. "This is happening right now," William said, "while we sit here and talk." The assembly fell completely silent. "The conclave has failed," William said. "It has failed to protect its members. It has failed to uphold its most basic principles." Kate watched as William reached for a secure communication device that connected directly to Earth Central Command. "Authorization Carter Omega 95, he said clearly. "The conclave has failed. Execute Protocol Thermopylae." The assembly erupted in confusion. Representatives from all 26 non-human species began talking at once. Some stood up in alarm. Others demanded explanations. Only the Vosk remained calm, watching with what almost looked like approval. New voice cut through the chaos as the main screen changed to show a woman in a military uniform. Admiral Laura Martinez of Earth Fleet looked as composed as William had once been, but her eyes held the same cold fire now burning in his. "Authorization confirmed," she said. "May God forgive us, because they won't." Grand Minister Zotok raised his massive arms. "What is the meaning of this, Ambassador Carter? What is Protocol Thermopylae?" William turned to face the assembly again. For the first time in 100 years of human diplomacy, he allowed his true feelings to show on his face. The anger, the frustration, the deep sense of betrayal, all were visible now. "For a century," he said, his voice carrying throughout the chamber without needing amplification, "we have shown you only what we wanted you to see." Around the chamber, communication devices began to signal urgent messages. Representatives checked their screens and then looked back at William with new expressions: shock, disbelief, and in some cases, growing fear. "What is happening?" demanded Ambassador Velna, her fur standing on end. "The truth," William replied simply. On screens across conclave space, massive ships were appearing. They emerged from hidden locations, from asteroid fields, from gas giant orbits, from what had appeared to be small mining operations. The true Earth fleet, not the ceremonial vessels the conclave had been allowed to monitor and inspect. "You thought humanity joined the conclave because we needed protection," William continued. "The truth is, our ancestors worried that without the moderating influence of other species, humanity might become the monster in the darkness. Weapons platforms activated around Earth colonies, stealth field generators deactivated, revealing military installations that had been invisible to conclave sensors for decades." The chamber fell into stunned silence as the implications became clear. Humanity had never been defenseless. They had been hiding their true strength all along. "The human race spent thousands of years fighting itself," William said, his voice dropping to a dangerous quiet. "We perfected the art of war against ourselves. When we realized what we were capable of, we sought to change. We buried our nature beneath diplomacy and cooperation. We hoped we would never need to be what history made us." He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of each species representative. "But you should have helped us when we asked. Because what's coming now isn't diplomacy. What's coming isn't measured." The screen switched to show a massive fleet of Earth ships already moving toward New Washington. Ships that no one in the conclave had known existed. The Krelvor wanted war with humanity? William's voice had lost all its diplomatic softness. "They've got it, and you're about to learn why our ancestors feared what would happen if humanity ever truly lost its composure." Grand Minister Zotok moved forward, his large form towering over William. "This is a violation of conclave treaties. You have hidden military assets. You have lied to the conclave for a century." William didn't back down. "We showed restraint. We shared technology. We traded fairly. We followed your rules. And when we needed help, you gave us meetings and committees." Ambassador Grek of the Vosk stepped forward. "I warned you all," he said to the other representatives. "The Vosk have always known what humans could become. We saw their wars from afar. We understood what they were hiding." "And you did nothing to help them either," Kate said, speaking up for the first time. "You were curious to see what would happen when humans finally broke." Grek made the Voski gesture of agreement. "Yes. And now we will see." The assembly descended into argument again. Some representatives demanded sanctions against Earth. Others called for military action to stop the human fleet. A few suggested forming a coalition to join humanity against the Krelvor. William ignored them all. He turned to Kate, Sam, and John. "We're leaving," he said simply. "Our work here is done." "Ambassador Carter," Zotok called as they walked toward the exit. "If you leave this chamber, Earth's membership in the conclave will be suspended." William paused at the door. "That's your choice, Minister. But understand this. The humans you thought you knew are gone. We tried it your way. Now we do it ours." As they left the chamber, Kate caught glimpses of other diplomats watching them, some with fear, others with curiosity. The Tellurians, Skin displayed patterns she had never seen before, perhaps their visual expression of shock. Back at the Earth Embassy, Admiral Martinez was waiting on the secure channel. "The fleet will reach New Washington in 20 hours, she reported. "All Earth colonies have activated their defense systems. The hidden fleets are in position." "Casualties?" William asked. "We expect heavy losses," Laura replied honestly. "But the Krelvor will lose more." William nodded. "What about the captives?" "Rescue operations are the top priority," Laura assured him. "We have special forces teams ready to deploy." John stepped forward. "Admiral, I request permission to join the rescue operation for New Washington." Laura looked at William, who nodded slightly. "Granted, Lieutenant Peterson," she said. "A transport will pick you up in 2 hours." After John left to prepare, Kate found herself alone with William. "You always knew this day might come," she said. It wasn't a question. William sighed. Earth joined the conclave with 2 purposes: to learn from other species and grow beyond our violent past, but also to have someone watching over us, keeping us in check. He looked out at the station where representatives from 26 species were still arguing about how to respond to humanity's deception. "The irony is that we needed their help to stay peaceful," he said quietly. "And by refusing to help us, they've unleashed exactly what they always feared." Outside the embassy, they could hear the station's alert systems activating. The conclave was mobilizing whatever forces they had. "Will they try to stop us?" Kate asked. William shook his head. "They can try, but they won't succeed." Within hours, the Earth Embassy was empty. All human diplomats had departed on special transports, returning to Earth or joining the fleet. The conclave officially suspended Earth's membership, but it was a meaningless gesture. Humanity had already moved beyond such concerns. Across human space, people watched as the hidden fleets emerged from their concealment. Ships that had been disguised as research stations or trading vessels revealed their true nature. People who had lived their lives believing they were part of a peaceful species now witnessed the awakening of a war machine that had been sleeping for a century. Some were afraid. Others felt a strange pride. But all understood that their world had changed forever. Admiral Martinez addressed the combined fleet as they approached New Washington. Her message was broadcast to all human settlements. "For 100 years we have hidden our strength," she said. "We have played by their rules. We have shown restraint. That time is over. The Krelvor attacked our people. The conclave abandoned us. Now they will all see what humanity truly is when the gloves come off." Her words echoed across human space, marking the end of an era of restraint and the beginning of something new. The war lasted 11 months. It began at New Washington, where the human fleet arrived to find the Krelvor still processing captives. The battle lasted just 6 hours. The Krelvor ships, powerful enough to overwhelm colonial defenses, discovered they were no match for Earth's true military might. Lieutenant John Peterson led a rescue team to the surface. They fought through the processing centers, freeing thousands of captives. John found his brother's family alive but traumatized. As he carried his young niece back to the transport, he saw something in the Krelvor facility that would change the course of the war. "They were studying us," he reported to Admiral Martinez. "The processing centers weren't just for captives. They were research labs. They were taking humans apart to understand how we work." This discovery burned through human space like wildfire. Any remaining restraint vanished. Public opinion, already supportive of military action, now demanded complete victory over the Krelvor. On Station Harmonious Unity, the conclave remained in emergency session. Ambassador William Carter returned briefly to address them one final time. "We asked for allies and you gave us paperwork," he told them. "Now we only need witnesses." Some conclave members belatedly offered assistance. The Vosk were first, eager to join what promised to be a glorious war. The Tellurians followed, then the Zindi. But William declined all offers. "This is now a human matter," he said simply. "Stay out of our way." From their observation posts, the other species watched in shock as humanity transformed before their eyes. The careful, controlled diplomats were replaced by warriors of terrible efficiency. Earth Fleet Admiral Peter Rodriguez, once known for his love of Parnassian poetry, now coordinated strikes of such devastating precision that even the militaristic Vosk were stunned. Dr. Linda Jackson, who had won the Conclave Peace Prize for her work on interspecies medicine, repurposed her research to develop targeted weapons that could bypass Krelvor defenses. The quiet scientist who once spoke softly at medical conferences now briefed battle groups with cold determination. They've been hiding this side of themselves for a century, Ambassador Grech told the conclave. While we thought they were learning from us, they were containing themselves for our benefit. The human military operated with a precision and coordination that shocked their former allies. Ships appeared from nowhere, struck with overwhelming force, and vanished again. Ground forces moved with ruthless efficiency. Intelligence operations mapped Krelvor movements with uncanny accuracy. 3 months into the war, the Krelvor attempted to attack Earth directly. They never got within a light year of the solar system. The battle lasted less than a day, ending with the complete destruction of the Krelvor fleet. 5 months in, human forces located the first Krelvor colony world. Instead of destroying it from orbit, they landed troops. They took prisoners. They gathered intelligence. They want to understand their enemy, Grand Minister Zotak observed, just as we should have done when they first came to us for help. Kate Nelson, now serving as Earth's only diplomatic contact with the conclave, delivered regular reports but shared few details of military operations. You chose to stand aside, she reminded them. This is the consequence. 7 months into the war, human scientists announced they had decoded the Krelvor language and biology. The Krelvor, they discovered, were not simply mindless killers. They were a hive mind species that viewed individual sentient beings as raw materials to be harvested and integrated into their collective. They didn't see us as people, Dr. Jackson explained in a public broadcast. They saw us as useful components. They wanted our adaptability, our creativity, our individuality, but not as traits to respect, as resources to consume. The war took on a new dimension. It wasn't just about revenge or security anymore. It was about preventing a fundamental threat to all individual consciousness. 9 months in, human forces located the Krelvor homeworld. The conclave expected immediate devastation. Instead, humanity paused. William Carter returned to Station Harmonious Unity one more time, now wearing the uniform of an Earth Fleet commander rather than diplomatic attire. We could end the Krelvor today, he told the assembly. We have the capability to destroy their homeworld completely, but that would make us what you always feared we were. He presented a different plan. Targeted strikes against military installations, capture of key hive mind nodes, disruption of their ability to communicate across their collective consciousness. We will end the threat, he said, but we will not commit genocide. Even now, even after all that's happened, we remain human. And that means we have lines we will not cross. The final battle took place in the Krelvor home system. The Earth fleet arrived in overwhelming numbers. The battle lasted 3 days. When it ended, the Krelvor civilization was not destroyed but thoroughly defeated. Their hive connections were severed, leaving them as individuals for the first time in their species' history. In the aftermath, humanity withdrew from active conclave participation. They established what became known as the Terran Protectorate, which included Earth, all human colonies, and now the former Krelvor worlds. They remained technically members of the conclave, but seldom attended sessions. 1 year after the war ended, the conclave chambers included a new monument, a simple, black obelisk inscribed with Carter's words from that fateful day. Mistake not composure for weakness nor patience for inability. What sleeps should not be awakened. Kate Nelson, now serving as Earth's permanent representative, often noticed other diplomats touching the monument as they passed it, a reminder of what they had learned about their human neighbors. 5 years after the war, William Carter returned to Station Harmonious Unity. He wore civilian clothes, not a uniform or diplomatic attire. He had aged, with more gray in his hair and lines around his eyes, but he carried himself with the same dignity as always. The assembly hall fell silent as he entered. Grand Minister Jotak, still serving his long term, greeted him formally. The conclave recognizes William Carter of Earth. William nodded and took the central podium. I come not as a diplomat or soldier, but as a teacher, he began. Earth wishes to establish an exchange program. We will share what we know of the Krelvor. We will help prepare defenses against similar threats that may exist beyond known space. He paused, looking around at the representatives of 26 species who had once been allies, then strangers, and now perhaps could be partners again. More importantly, we wish to share something else. The balance we have found between our capacity for violence and our dedication to peace. The duality that makes us human. Grand Minister Jotak's skin rippled with what humans now recognized as deep thought. And why would you share this with us now after all that has happened? William smiled slightly. Because the greatest achievement of humanity wasn't our victory over the Krelvor, but our return to composure afterward. No species ever again mistook humanity's self-control for lack of feeling. And when human representatives returned to regular conclave sessions years later, their measured voices and calm demeanors were understood for what they truly were. Not the absence of emotion, but the careful containment of a fire that once unleashed could burn across the stars. A fire that humanity had learned to carry safely, not for their sake alone, but for all who shared the galaxy with them.